Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or if you're not new, hi, welcome. Today is going to be a little bit of a different video. There's going to be 4 crocheted items in one video today. So I have a spiderweb top that I'm making, a cardigan, a pumpkin, and a spiderweb type bandana thing. It's a very long video with a lot of just crochet along with me type stuff. So you guys could use this for either inspiration, just to put on the background while you're crocheting, or even just to add to start the fall season. One thing I did want to mention real quick before we get into the video is I wanted to thank you guys for my last video that I did. Right now, at the time I'm filming this, the video is already at 4K, which I know is not a lot to some people, but I just started my channel back up, so it means a lot that you guys are actually liking the content. And I know a lot of you want to see a Halloween spooky version of it. It's in the works. It will be coming up. Just give me time to actually make the video because I want to make sure that all the patterns in this video are going to be free patterns. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and hop into the video today. If you guys haven't already, make sure you subscribe, like, comment down below, and we're going to go ahead and get started with the video.
Alright, so starting off with the spiderweb top, I used this video right here that I'm going to link down below in the description box. It is a completely step-by-step on how I made this. I used the Mainstays 100% acrylic yarn. This is just the basic yarn you can get from Walmart. And I ended up using a 4mm crochet hook, if I can get it to focus. A 4mm crochet hook with this yarn. Then I just went along following the pattern exactly to a T, just like she does in the video. It's very simple, very easy to complete, and actually surprisingly worked up really quickly. All this tutorial is literally double crochets and chains, which if you know anything about crocheting, which if you're watching this video, you probably do, those are very simple, very easy things to do. And this was the end of it. I ended up ending mine with 35 chains going across per thing, and honestly going all the way around, this only took me about 2 hours to do, which worked up way faster than I thought it was going to in the long run. And it looked a little crazy, a little combobulated, but I ended up having to make 2 of these obviously because you have to have a front and a back panel. So here it is right here, both the front and the back panel together. And it looked a little bit crazy, but I just followed the video just like this. That's going to be linked down below. And I basically had the armholes right here, followed just like where she did in the video. I stitch marked where the arms were going to be, the head would go, and where the bottom would be, where the sides were going to go in, and everything like that, just like the video. It's very simple, very easy. I just wanted to kind of explain this a little bit for you guys. It's not very hard at all. The arms would be going up here. It's very simple. It looks a little confusing, and even in the video she says it is a little confusing. But here is me going in on the sides, because obviously if you've got 2 panels, that's not a top. You have to be able to stitch them together. So what I did is I took my tapestry needle, put the 2 together, and almost did like a zigzag back and forth type stitch. But make sure that you line up your chains exactly to the best of your abilities anyways. I was having an issue doing this. When I was filming, it was fine. But then when I would go and not count my stitches as I was doing this, I came into the problem that I actually didn't do something right. And I had to go back a couple times because I would get to my stitch marker, like how this purple one is here, and I would realize I had a couple extra chains on one panel than the other one, which obviously is not okay. So just working up on the side, I ended up doing this to both sides of it. And here is both of the panels sewn together. I did it on both sides, so the only holes remaining would be for my head, the 2 sleeve panels, and then obviously the bottom for like your torso part. And this is all of the 18 rows, both panels, slip stitched / like a zigzag stitch together.
Alright, so it is 7 in the morning when I'm filming this. The only reason I'm even up today is for a job orientation that I have to be at. I didn't sleep last night because I know that if I don't stay awake all night, I'm gonna feel really sick in the morning and then not want to go to this thing. So instead, I stayed up, watched a bunch of crochet videos, and I wanted to come on here real quick, even though I look a little crazy, to address the fact there are so many fall crochet projects that I have on my brain to make this year. I've also come to the conclusion with one thing when it comes to this project. One, before I started, I was like, oh, I'm gonna make more. I'm gonna make the white one to start off, and then I wanted to make a black version and a maroon, like burgundy red version. Unless I completely run out of ideas, I don't think that's gonna be happening. But I also realized I made it too big because body dysmorphia issues. I do that with a lot of my crocheted things where I either won't measure and so I'll overestimate, which is kind of what I did here a little bit. But it's way too big up here at the top, so it is going to give that oversized look, which is fine. But the sleeves are where the issue came into effect. And I don't know if you can tell on camera, but this little droop right here that hangs is really unflattering on my arm. But I'm not going to undo it because the fact is there's this big gaping hole under the arm that goes to my side, stays there, and I don't know why. I'm pretty sure it's user error. I don't think it's the girl's video. I think it's me not knowing what I'm doing.
That is correct.
But if I keep the sleeve down, therefore it's going to fix it and make it less noticeable.
Are you sure about that?
And also, when do I have my arms up all the time? We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna hop back into trying to finish this up.
So here's just a quick little time lapse of me actually working on the sleeves. I did basically exactly what the video was. I just did 12 rows that had 18 chains for me personally. The chaining and the amount of rows is going to depend depending on how like big around you need the sleeve to be for your arm, and then also how long you're wanting the sleeves to be or how long your arms are. It all just depends on personal preference if you're going for an oversized look or if you're wanting to be more form-fitting. And once I repeated that for both, I just cut off the yarn and ended up making sure that it was secured very tightly. And that was the end of this project.
Here is the finished spiderweb top. I absolutely love how it came out. I love mostly that there's little holes in the spider webbing, so you can put your fingers in and make little finger thumb holes. I actually already wore this out to Spirit, and this was the first time me actually wearing a crochet piece out, so I really like this one and I think it was a success. The only thing, like I'll show you guys, is under the arms. That is the issue, but other than that, it's really not that big of a deal. On the sides, the arms with the big gaping, like I already talked about, it honestly doesn't look the most flattering, but it just looks like a bunch of spider web type stuff, so it still looks really cool. And the other thing is just the siding of it. I don't know if it was me or what it was, but it doesn't want to go in fully and seam in, but that's just me being picky about it. Overall, I do really love it. I think it's adorable, and I can't wait to layer it and wear it around the Halloween season.
Now moving on to making the cardigan. This was probably one of my favorite things from the video. I used this video that I'm going to link down below in the description box. I basically used it pretty much for tea. I did the same thing that she did with all the math and the measurements to make everything around roughly the measurements here that I wanted them to be, but I was soon to realize that these measurements were actually really not going to be into effect as serious as I thought they were going to be. So I thought I was going to do 10 inches at the top, 18 inches long. Each panel would be 13.5 inches. The back panel is going to be 27 inches, but I would soon realize that was not the case. I ended up using the Big Twist Value yarn, which is from Joann's. Originally, it calls for a 5mm crochet hook, and honestly, I really love this shade. It's beautiful, perfect for fall. I end up going with a 4mm crochet hook, though. I believe that's what she used in the video, but that is what I ended up using. So starting off with a slip knot, just like any project does, and I ended up starting with the front panels. So for my front panels, personally, I ended up chaining up 72, but then I also had to add a couple more, so I did 74 in total. I basically just chained up until I had around the 18 inches. I did double crochet. Worked this up as much as I could. I did 2 panels because obviously you need 2 front panels, but just over the course of the couple days I worked them up. And then going on with the back panel, I did a very similar thing. I did basically what the video said to do. So I had the 27 inches in my mind of what the total was going to be, There's a little dip that she creates in her video in the back, so I did some measurements for it. Took the video into consideration doing the double crochets. In the video, she does single crochet, but I personally did double crochets. One, because I wanted to go by faster, and I also really wanted to give the effect of a ribbed look, like a ribbed cardigan type look and effect, which nothing is wrong with the single crochet. So then I took the 2 panels, which were the front panels. As you can see right here, I lined them up so that they were exactly even, going opposite ways. I slip stitched them together with my crochet hook. Did the same thing to the other side as well, making sure that they were exactly the same. This will be the inside, so it won't really matter. As you can see, I flipped it on the right side that will be out, so it will look really seamless and really nice when it's actually laying on the body. The inside that doesn't look the best won't be shown. And then it was time to work on the sleeves. So again, I wrote everything down. I know it looks a little crazy, but I thought I was going to do like a 19-inch long. So what I did was, this was my chain I created. It was 65 chains, doing the double crochet, doing the same exact back loop only stitch that I'd been doing for the entire cardigan, working this up just like that until I had 24 rows in total for my sleeve. And then I would fold it in half. And once I'd done that, I was going to go in and I slip stitched along this whole seam because I didn't want to have like a cinched in look. I wanted it to be a bellow sleeve type thing. So in order to create the effect, I just kept it completely the same length all the way around down the whole entire sleeve. And honestly, it turned it out looking really great. So when it came to the actual body, this is what I did. I kept a hole around big enough for my arm with my beautiful stitch marker that I got actually from a seller on Etsy that I'm going to link down below. If you guys love like horror, Halloween, spooky type stuff, I will link it down below for you guys because I love it. But I ended up slip stitching right there and it looked like this. So I had the armhole ready for the sleeve to be attached. I slip stitched down along the side. This was after the sleeve had been attached to it. This is also the inside. So here's the outside of it and both sleeves put together. I just basically repeated the same thing that I already showed you guys just for the second sleeve. I did chains for the bow and slip stitched around the border up here, and this was basically it completely done. It looked really nice and I was honestly really proud with the product.
So here is the finished cardigan. I love how it turned out. I didn't really have a full plan on how exactly it was gonna look before I started it, and the thing I'm most proud of is the fact that I love the way that the sleeves are. They're not too long to the point where like it's unmanageable, but if I needed to, I could push it up and it'd be totally fine. The only thing I would want to change maybe about this would be the neckline, because it is just a little bit too big up here, and then also in the sleeving I think is the issue. Right here where I connected my sleeve to the front panels, it is a little tighter, so I think that's why it's pulling. But I also did want the over the shoulder drawn in with a bow type of effect, so I think worn with the right pieces and styled the right way, I'll end up liking it. Yeah, this is how it looks. I'm honestly really proud of it and I can't wait to wear it for the fall time.
Alright, so moving on to the Spiderweb bandana. This is the video I used to make the actual granny square. I used the Mainstays yarn and a 3.25mm hook. The video that I used is going to be linked down below. All it is to make this spiderweb granny square, which is honestly really versatile and you can use it on really anything. It doesn't really just have to be for this bandana. And it was really simple and easy for me to just make really quickly. Snipped off the yarn and pulled it to secure. And it looked like this. It's a little hard to see the actual shape of it being a square, but once it's laid down you can see the 4 corners when it's worked up. So I did this, working up all of the ones that I needed. For this particular bandana that I made, I ended up going with 6 of the big full-size squares in total, and that was the amount that I needed for this project. And here they are all laid out in this like V type shape with one in the middle. This is just the formation that I used for the video, and now I have to make the little tiny little like half type ones to make them. So just really quickly, here's a little bit of a time lapse of it, but basically all I did was do exactly half of what the tutorial is. So it ended up coming out like this, pulling the yarn to secure it. It was basically just literally a half of a square, so you've got the corners on it. It's basically, if you just cut it in half, it looks a little like this. If you really want a full in-depth, I can do a better tutorial on this if you guys would like, but just make 2 of them, put them there, and here I am going in, working up on putting them together. This was probably the part that took the longest, just because it always does. So sandwich them together, and I ended up doing a slip stitch going in, and it was kind of hard to see with the black yarn, but I used the same 3.25 millimeter hook, and this is what it looked like. Really seamless, really nice. It's kind of hard to see, but as best as I could, I tried to show you guys that it looks really nice, really flat. And this was all of them worked up together. It's a little hard to see. It was really late at night when I was filming this because I'm always crocheting at night, so the lighting is not the best, but when it's held up you guys can see the spider web, and overall it just really gives it a nice effect. Then for the chains, like to go around to make it an actual bandana, I chained up about 50, not too particular on it, just in both corners.
Here is the finished bandana. Now, this is the first bandana that I actually have made. So, if I'm being totally honest, I don't know how to style it. I even talked with some people about it on a TikTok live that I did. I have no clue how this is actually supposed to be worn, so I can't really model it very well. I don't even know if it's gonna pick up on camera at all whatsoever, but we'll see. Honestly, I do really like it, even if I don't know exactly how to style it just yet. Eventually, I will probably look up a TikTok, a YouTube video, or some type of tutorial because I would love to wear it, even with this top. I think it kind of blends in into the background, but you guys can see the spider web effect on it, and I think it's adorable. And lastly, so I wasn't going to throw this in here because I had already started making this pumpkin, and I also don't even have a lot of footage from making it, but it's so simple, and it's literally just a pattern that's here on YouTube. She even has a written pattern linked down below in the bio of her video, so you guys can go and check it out. But it looks like this. It's completely adorable. I even have an orange version as well that I made, but I wanted to make a white one, so this is the footage from that.
So here's the small clips that I did get from it. I basically just used the video that's linked down below with the Mainstays 100% acrylic white yarn. That's a reoccurring trend. I use this yarn a lot. Instead of using the original one, I use a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. I just use exactly the same video. I ended up using the link in her bio of the video that had it written out for me, and it looked like this as I stuffed it up, and then I just had to finish the top of it. So I went and finished up the top of it, had the end all weaved in, and it honestly really looked like a flower. So I ended up making the stem. I did the 8 chains going across and just did single crochets going in the back loops only. Just kept on working it up row by row by row. She doesn't give a specific amount, she just gives a certain amount of inches. I ended up doing 12 rows though, and I just sewed it in at the top so there was no hole, and here it is flipped on the outside. So I slip stitched up the seam so it gives you this effect, this little shape that you can kind of just mess around with to get it however you would like. Left a long end so I could go in with my tapestry needle, sewed it into the top to make it just look nice, and this was the finished product.
Yeah, so this is how it turned out. Compared, like a size comparison, I probably should have used a regular 5 millimeter, I believe is what the original pattern called for, but I didn't read it, so I just used a 5.5 instead. And honestly, it still is nice. There is a little bit of like gapping a little bit since I have really loose tension. Since it's white and the polyfill is also white, it's not that noticeable. This is the 4th one of these pumpkins that I've actually already made this season, so if you want something really fast and easy to work up, I recommend this one. And that's the end of the video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe down below. More ideas to crochet things in the future. There's a lot of things that I have, especially fall/Halloween related, that I want to get to, but if you guys have any ideas, let me know so I know what videos to make. And yeah, with that being said, I will see you guys in my next video.